Welcome to Restoring Education in America with Priscilla Rahn. She's a master educator and author, leading the conversation to restore the American mind through wisdom, virtue, and truth.
Welcome, everybody, to Restoring Education in America. I'm your host, Priscilla Rahn, and I'm so glad that you've decided to join the conversation today. Today is a big day. It's election day, and there's still a little more time for you to turn in your ballot. You have until 7 p.m. to make your voice count. But what could be more important than to elect someone who is a policymaker, who loves protecting children and respecting parents? And today, I want to bring our guests on. We have two amazing moms who are vowing to make a difference in the lives of kids and teachers in Cherry Creek School District. Welcome, Amanda Thayer and Tatyana Sturm.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us, Priscilla.
Well, I want to give a brief bio for both of you. I went to your websites and they're so impressive. So I tried my best to shrink them down a little bit. But if someone wants to get to know who you are, they definitely should go to your websites and read more about you. So I'm going to start with Amanda. You have two children who attend schools in the district. You volunteered countless hours in classrooms, reading to students, organizing fundraising events, and planning and leading celebrations. You've chaperoned field trips, worked with neighbors on parent-teacher organizations, and as a member of the District Accountability Committee focusing on increasing parent and community engagement. I know you love public education, and you were nurtured by your mom, who was a special education teacher. And you also have an education degree, and you've been a substitute teacher, and you even won the Cherry Creek School District Exceptional Volunteer Award for your service to our students, staff, and community. That's so amazing.
Yes, thank you.
And then along with your amazing running mate, Tatyana, she's a proud Colorado native. She and her husband moved to Cherry Creek School District over 2 decades ago to raise their family, and both of her sons attend Cherry Creek schools. Over the past 20 years, Tatyana has poured her heart into making the Cherry Creek community a better place for families. From volunteering in classrooms and at school functions to hosting community events, Tatyana and her family have supported our schools in countless ways. Professionally, Tatyana runs a successful real estate business with a strong background in construction and investment across Colorado, the country, and even internationally. Tatyana brings her business perspective to the school board, focusing on accountability, return to investment, and fiscal responsibility. What a powerhouse between the two of you to come to Cherry Creek School District. So election day is finally here. How are both of you feeling? Tatyana, how are you feeling?
I am so grateful for this opportunity. I was approached by my community to run for this position, and I have just had so many heartfelt conversations with people in the district, taxpayers, parents, teachers that are really at a crossroads with the district, and a lot of concerns going on in Cherry Creek schools, and they want to see a difference. And so just having those conversations with people, everybody that I've met through this process, our support, our donors, I've learned so much, and I look forward to getting on that board and making a difference, because like you mentioned, I'm an agent, and I've seen many families move into this district 15, 20 years ago, specifically for the schools. And now I'm starting to see some families move out of the district. So Amanda and I both want to bring that excellence back to Cherry Creek schools.
Yes, running for public office, which I've done twice, is next level. It's totally different than being a professional, or in your case, Amanda, being in the education world. How are you feeling today that it's election day and it's finally here?
Yeah, we are super excited to be here. We've run a really strong campaign. As you know, we are 100% a grassroots effort. And so I'm just really proud of what Tatyana and our team has done. And we're so grateful for all of the supporters that we have. We've really, like I said, grassroots effort. We have hundreds of people that have donated to our campaign and supported us, whether that's, sign waving or making phone calls, or supporting us at all of our different events, and introducing us to people. We've had tons of conversations with parents and teachers and administrators and community members that all have a voice and all want to be heard. And so we're really grateful for all of our supporters, and we really want to make that next step so that we can carry that forward onto the school board and really start to let them know that their voices are being heard, and that we can make a difference, and we can get Cherry Creek back to that excellent standard that they're so accustomed to.
Well, it's really encouraging to see both of you and how you've run your campaigns with such fidelity and showing up to different events and luncheons and talking to parents in the community. That makes such a big difference when you're on the outside looking at candidates and putting your hope and trust in someone to take the school district to the next level. So Tatyana, you've been a part of the Cherry Creek community for over 20 years, raising your sons through the district. From a parent's perspective, what strengths and challenges do you see in Cherry Creek school districts right now?
So right now, one of the challenges that we're seeing is declining enrollment in our district. And what we can see from statistics in the district is that enrollment is down overall 5% from 5 years ago. And the number of administrators has risen over 16%. So, that is an issue from a budget perspective, first and foremost. But in order to get our district back on track, in order to meet, get our funds back up and our budget back up, we need to increase that enrollment. And one of the ways that we need to do that is by putting more money back into the classrooms. From a lot of parents that have pulled their kids out of the district, whether it be homeschooling, private schools, that is one of the things that they feel is lacking in the district is the support in the classroom. Right now, our reading and math levels are below 50% at grade level at proficiency throughout the district. And that's also been an issue for parents. So in order to get those proficiency levels back up, one of the number one things we need to do is get the support to the kids that they need. And that's going to start in the classrooms.
It's really refreshing to hear a school board candidate speak like this and understand how important it is to get those resources all the way down into the classroom. And Amanda, you know this more than anybody, right? As someone who has volunteered in the classrooms, and you've organized PTO events, and you've even served on the DAC, which is the District Accountability Committee. How have those experiences shaped your understanding of what's really happening in our schools?
Yeah, they've really opened my eyes to just how big of a district we have. We have an amazing district. It's very large. It's very well funded. We have a lot of community dollars. We have amazing community support, and I think that's one of the amazing things about this district is we really do have community members and parents that love and support the district, and so we want to keep that going. We want to be good stewards of that support and the funding that's coming in, and so my experience being in the schools is that we just really need to be aware of what are the needs that we have. How can we support? We have amazing teachers, amazing staff. And so how can we continue to support them and help them do what they are supposed to do, which is, educate our kids. And that's our focus. And so, really seeing that firsthand and how we can best support our teachers and our staff so that they can do what they do best, and that's educate our kids. And and use those funds, resourcefully so that we can do the best for everyone. Everybody gets their piece of it.
If you're just tuning in to Restoring Education in America, this is Priscilla Rahn, your host. Our special guests today are Cherry Creek School Board candidates Tatyana Sturm and Amanda Thayer. You still have time to get your ballot in. You have until 7 p.m., so it's not too late. Make sure you rush. Make sure your kids get dinner, though, too. But we're talking about some of these test scores, Tatyana, and I have some of that data right here, and it was astounding to take a look at this information where you mentioned 16.3% is the increased number of administrators, while there's been a 5.3% decline in enrollment. And this is coming from administrative growth in Colorado's public school system. 25.5% of Cherry Creek students are considered chronically absent, missing more than 10% or more of the school year. Only 48.2% of Cherry Creek students are meeting or exceeding grade level standards in English language arts, and only 42.8% of Cherry Creek students are meeting or exceeding standards in math. PSAT and SAT scores show only 73.9% of Cherry Creek students are proficient in reading and writing, and only 45% are proficient in math. I can go on and on. This is not the expectation or the tradition of Cherry Creek schools. And I know that school districts are still trying to recover from the COVID losses, but when you're talking with parents in the community and they say, we want more transparency and we want to build more trust with the district, how would you work to do that and increase transparency and rebuild trust with parents?
Well, with COVID, we saw a lot of parents get pushed out of the schools, right, in the classrooms. And now we need to get parents back into the classrooms, because when you have parents volunteering and they're in the classrooms, it is much better for the kids, right? The kids tend to be typically better behaved, they pay attention, they like having the support from their parents, and we see, a lot of times we can see those proficiencies in reading and writing go up. So offering different things to parents, there are a lot of great parents that do a lot of volunteer work, excuse me, in the class to get involved. Not every, if you have a family that has both working parents, right, we need to give them some alternatives to, even if it's just one day a month, find that way to spend some time in the classroom, whether that's, maybe do some things virtually, offer daycare, if maybe, let's say, they have younger kids that need to be looked after, and have those discussions with parents. Also, the other thing that I think is really important that I've noticed in the district too is, having a lot of students that are English as a second language. So there's a lot of parents out there, that may not be proficient in speaking English, that need translation, right? Need translators. So right now, I don't think Cherry Creek is doing a great job at providing translation or even deaf interpreters to those parents to get them into the classroom and get them more involved. But that's something that, as diverse as ours is.
Yeah, that's also immigrant from another country where English was not her first language, and we didn't have that access to translation. And it really is helpful for new immigrants and refugees who are coming in, who are coming from a culture where they do support teachers and they do support the schools, and they really want their children to thrive and experience the American dream. And so you have to accelerate their access to the content. And so I think that's a really strong idea to implement that. Amanda, when you think about how schools used to treat parents, like they used to call parents stakeholders. And then we saw through COVID, they called parents terrorists, and it became a negative relationship. So what role do you think parents play in shaping some of the curriculum in our schools?
Yeah, I think they play a paramount role in shaping the curriculum and supporting the schools. They really are the first step in being involved in their child's education and participation. But I do know, being a member of the district accountability committee, one of the charges that we've been given is to how can we increase parent involvement, and how can we do that? And so, my initial response is, let's ask, right? Let's ask the parents if they can be involved, and let's ask for what we need support in. A lot of people don't do things because they're never asked, right? And I think especially if we have lots of different options and ways that parents doing something in the evening, or it's doing something at home, online. I mean, there's lots of ways that we can get involved, get parents involved, and get their feedback back in the classrooms. I think also asking parents for their support. I know when I was a parent, my daughter was in middle school, and her middle school was going through a rebuild phase of the innovation center that is on their campus. And I was asked to sit on the building committee for that, and involved and provide their inputs as to what they think would be most useful and beneficial for the student population. So things like that, asking them to be a part of kind of the bigger decisions that are out there, or what kind of curriculum we should be looking at.
So Tatyana, you come with a business mindset, and that's really valuable, because at the end of the day, the school board only has one employee, and that's the superintendent. And being able to help guide a superintendent with high executive functioning, that's really, really critical. It's great to have educators at the helm, but it's really important to be able to manage an entire school system and all of the levers that need to be pulled. So with your business mindset and being in real estate, how does your perspective help to ensure that taxpayer dollars are being used efficiently to directly benefit students?
So through my career, 20 years as an agent, 25 years doing real estate investment, I've managed multiple projects, multiple types of people, and whether I'm working with a seller getting their house ready for sale, or it's a rehab project or new construction, we always have to look at everything from that perspective of return on investment. And that is definitely the mindset that I'm going to bring to the board is, are we seeing this return on every dollar that we spend? And it's for the taxpayer community, as you had mentioned, the stakeholder, right, which is the taxpayer. And they want to see kids educated and put into society after they graduate high school, whether that's college or a trade or another type of profession. They want to see productive members of society, right? That's we education is important, but also finding kids. I think working with a superintendent, it's gonna be something that we have to set goals with the superintendent. Like the superintendent right now has a goal of every child in the district to be proficient in reading by 2030. And Amanda and I are totally done sooner if possible. But then working with a superintendent and, talking about what those goals are for the district, and then setting measurable expectations and accountability is going to be really important. I think over the last few years, there hasn't been that accountability between the board and the superintendent, and that has become a problem for the district. So it's really important that that accountability is there, and then of course, as board members, our accountability to our community and to the families, and the teachers, and the students, and the stakeholders is going to be equally as important as well.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a great answer. Amanda, well, okay, so we're living in a day and age where safety is a big issue. For me as a teacher, we do our fire drills every month. We do our lockout, lockdown, and that can work for certain issues that happen. But when you're thinking about an active shooter, we as teachers are not trained. We're not trained on triage. We're not trained on stop the bleed, because when seconds count, we as teachers are going to be the first responder when we're waiting for police or ambulance to come to a school. This is an important issue for parents when we're talking about safety. I personally serve on the Denver Police Chiefs Community Advisory Board. We meet every other month, and we talk about safety that's happening in Denver, and we talk about ICE, and we talk about flock the cameras, and we just talk about everything, because Denver is such a massive city. We have so many migrants that are coming in, and so many crimes that happen throughout the day. But when let's go to like schools, and what's your vision with your relationship with the police? I'm assuming it's the Aurora Police, SROs. How do you feel about having SROs in the schools, and where does that land in your priority, keeping schools safe and making it a welcoming environment for everybody?
Absolutely. I think it's paramount. It is one of our top priorities. Obviously we're both moms in this district, and it's so important. We've got a great security team at Cherry Creek. They've got a lot of amazing things in place. I believe it's the Arapahoe County sheriffs that are the SROs in Cherry Creek. But they do an amazing job, and the SROs are so important as far as our kids go. They build those relationships. They help those kids feel safe when they walk in the door. We also have an amazing red bag system. And we have, a lot of other things that are in place for our teachers in our schools in many types of events where they're currently doing, bulletproof glass in different areas. And I know they're looking at a lot of other features, but we do have an amazing security team. I think one of the things that both Tatyana and I have talked to many teachers that do believe that there should be active shooter training, and there currently is not, from our understanding. There are lockdown, like you said, fire drills, lockdown drills, those kinds of things. But when it comes to an active shooter training, we don't believe that the teachers are getting that training. We did hear that some administrators got the training, but when you take it back to the schools, like you said, how do you keep the schools safe? And that's something that I think both Tatyana and I would really like to see going forward when we're there, because we know that it is an issue and that it is something that we need to have everybody prepared for. I'm not sure that it's 100%. We need to have active shooter training for even the youngest of children. I mean, we want to make sure we keep it appropriate to the level that we don't cause any major fear or anything like that. But we want to make sure that we have the right tools in place, the right training in place for the teachers and the students and the administrators going forward. I think another thing that we would also like to see is metal detectors in the schools. I know that we don't have them currently, and there's ways to make them, that you can hide them so that they don't look like the old school metal detectors that we're used to seeing. And so I think there's definitely some more ways that we can improve at Cherry Creek, but I do believe that we do a great job right now. Our security team is amazing. Our SROs are amazing. So.
Amanda Thayer and Tatyana Sturm are our guests today. They are the two moms that are running for Cherry Creek School District. You have a few hours to get your ballot turned in. Please don't miss this opportunity to be a part of the future of Cherry Creek School District. Earlier this year, President Trump signed some executive orders to reduce the size of the federal Department of Education. I, for one, as a teacher, don't mind that we don't have as much decision making coming from DC. I think education from DC doesn't necessarily help us at the local level. But when you think about, Tatyana, what restoring education in America is like, what are some of those things that you would like to see change to restore education to the great place it used to be?
So I think being at a local level is really important when we're looking at education and seeing what the community is wanting for their kids. I had a question come up at a forum last week that was a question about physical education. Should we have those in the schools or not have those in the schools? And my answer to the question was yes, absolutely. We need to have physical education in the schools for our kids, because that helps our kids, be more, get their energy out so that they can concentrate in the classroom. It sets up good habits for as they get older. It helps them learn how to take care of their body. One of the other things that's been a huge concern in the district too right now is that Cherry Creek Schools got rid of valedictorian, right? And so we need to make sure that the kids that are, educationally, challenged, or that are higher academic achieving students, we need to make sure that we keep programs in there for them as well. So I think, making sure that we're working with kids, making sure that they can take care of their bodies and have those life skills for after school, but also, working with the kids that are, high academic achieving, working with the kids that we need to bring up their test scores and their proficiency, and then also working with those kids in the middle. A lot of times our feedback is, my child feels like they got left behind because they're stuck in the middle. We need to make sure that we're working with all kids and giving all the children in the district what they need so that they can thrive after high school.
Well, ladies, we're out of time. I can't believe we have to land our plane, but it's been a pleasure talking to you. Tatyana Sturm, Amanda Thayer, everybody go out and vote. And to my listeners, come back tomorrow. Catch me next time. And remember, educating the mind without the heart is no education. So seek wisdom, cultivate virtue, and speak truth.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Restoring Education in America with Priscilla Rahn. Visit PriscillaRahn.com to connect or learn how you can sponsor future episodes to keep this message of faith, freedom, and education on the air.
Thank you.